to Solomonari, a dark mythic world born from Romanian folklore and shaped by esoteric traditions and sacred geometry, hidden deep within the Carpathian forests of ancient Transylvania. It started as a small idea for a graphic novel, but over time it grew into something bigger, and I decided to document the process and share it with you. Hidden within the world is a school of occult teachings called Babariu, where three legendary clans exist. The Strigoi, ancient beings known in folklore as vampires, the Pricolici, who are werewolves, and Vitmapădurii, shapeshifters of the forest. As this project evolves, we'll explore each of these clans and the world they inhabit. In every episode, I'll take you through my process, drawing pages, designing characters, building the lore, and shaping the story step by step. So when we talk about the Strigoi in this world, I'm not just using the word as it exists in folklore. I'm building on top of it. In Romanian folklore, the word Strigoi refers to the dead who cannot rest, those who rise from the grave and return among the living. They were believed to drain the life from people and animals, which is why they became the origin of what we now call vampires. But in Solomonari, I took that idea further. Here, the Strigoi are not just undead. They come from something much older. At the origin of everything, the first spark of creation, there was a spiral, the source of all life, energy, and balance. The force that gave rise to reality itself. From it, many cosmic beings emerged, and among them two, Helior and Itera, and they had a son, Arun. Across time, other forms began to take shape, some becoming what we now know as clans like the Pricolici or the Vitmapădurii. But everything starts here, with Arun. He wasn't born inside the spiral, like everything else. He was born outside of it, and that changes everything. Because being outside the spiral meant he couldn't generate life energy on his own, so at some point he learned how to take it, and that's where the Strigoi come from. They're not part of the natural flow of the world. There's something that learned how to tap into it from the outside, and over time that became a curse. They depend on the spiral, but can never truly belong to it. From Arun, across many centuries, the bloodline spread, forming 9 great houses, each one carrying a different aspect of that original curse. And this is where our story begins, in the lineage of House Orun, where the ancient bloodlines leads us to Zelemir. But before we get to our main character, let's take a closer look at how the Strigoi actually functions, and how they extract energy from living things connected to the spiral. In this world, that energy is called Vâltoarea Veacurilor. The fangs of the Strigoi are not just for feeding. They're designed to interact with this energy. At a glance, they look like the teeth of a predator, but their real function is different. Each fang works like a tuning structure, allowing the Strigoi to sense and connect to nearby life energy. Instead of direct contact, they align with it. The jaw helps control this process. The upper jaw holds the fangs in place, while the lower jaw stabilizes them during extraction. And when active, the mouth opens beyond normal limits, becoming a channel through which the energy flows. As this process happens, the temperature inside the body rises rapidly, causing the blood to evaporate as a side effect. This is how the Strigoi feed, not on blood, but on vâltoarea veacurilor itself. Now let's talk about Zelemir. He is one of the central characters in Solomonari, and he comes from the bloodline of House Orun, one of the 9 great houses of the Strigoi. But he's not defined only by his lineage. Among his own kind, Zelamir stands apart. While most of the Strigoi accept their nature as it is, he sees it as something incomplete, something that can be understood and changed. And that idea is what shapes both his personality and his design. Visually, I wanted him to feel controlled, almost composed on the surface, but with something clearly unnatural underneath. His silhouette is very deliberate. The white hat helps frame his presence and makes him instantly recognizable, almost like a symbol rather than just a person. For the face, I kept the features simply as at first glance, but slightly off. The skin is pale, almost like a mask, and the red eyes give him that constant sense of awareness, like he's always observing. There's also this idea that what we see is not entirely his true nature, his true form. The design plays with that contrast between something controlled on the surface and something more exposed underneath. The hands are elongated with sharp nails, giving a sense of precision rather than brute force. And for the clothing, I went with something ceremonial. The darker upper shape gives him an occult presence, while the magenta tones add a sense of identity and status within the clan. Zelamir is not driven by instinct like most of his kind. He's calm, patient, and very deliberate in the way he acts. He doesn't just feed, he studies, experiments, and tries to understand the nature of the Strigoi. And that what makes him quite dangerous, not because he's impulsive, but because he's willing to go further than others in order to reach something new. At his core, Zelemir is someone who refuses to accept what he is as the final answer.
Well, I see you made it this far. Congratulations. I really appreciate it. And thank you for watching. In the next episode, we'll continue with page 3 of chapter 1, explore Strigoi anatomy in more detail, and begin designing new characters from the story. We'll also dive deeper in other aspects of the Solomonari world. If you enjoy this type of content and the world I am building, please consider subscribing, sending this to a friend, and leaving a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one.